All right, so we got another month on the books. Uh, this is our small um, educational account here. I'm just looking over. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you're looking at your portfolio, once you get your statement from your broker, and, I would recommend doing this at least once a month, so you can keep up and make sure that there's, one thing you want to pay attention to. Let me get the little highlighter here. We'll do it in, I don't know if we can find blue. Blue looks good. And, oh, not want draw. And blue. There we go. Get that off of there. All right. One thing you want to pay attention to is other fees. I pay commissions, but a lot of platforms, E-Trade, well, pretty much all the rest, other than Interactive Brokers, charge for trades on equities. Okay, remember there's a difference between equities and options and futures. Options you're going to pay more. Futures you're going to pay just depending on what size of contracts you're using. You'll pay commissions on those as well. But just you want to pay attention to these because every once in a while I'm not saying they do this deliberately, but you'll find, especially under other fees, these are usually regulatory fees or some kind of odd charge. I found, what was it? Anytime there's like a corporate action or something coming, TD Ameritrade has a habit of charging you for if they combined. Let's see, what was the last thing that happened? I think it was a couple of CEFs were combined into one. I think it was PCI and what was the other one? PC something. They were PIMCO CEFs. But anyways, what ended up happening is they put them into one, but they ended up charging like 45 or $55 for that transaction. They're the only broker that did this. I have 15 different accounts, and a lot of them mirror. They traded a little bit differently, but the same thing. Well, the only thing that happened that was weird was with TD Ameritrade, and I don't know what the problem was there. I didn't investigate it because it was just a one-time thing. Um, but I watched the accounts very closely because, and it was just a standard fee, so it didn't matter to the size of your portfolio. But if you're just starting out, you've got a small account, that can be a substantial hit to you on a month-to-month basis. So if you don't catch it and you don't question them about it, I would question them. That way you start to understand, or ask questions of somebody else. I notice that a lot of people, when it comes to money, they're afraid to ask questions because they think, well, how hard could it be? You're either making money or you're losing money, and it's more than that. But um, let's get to it. Okay, first thing we want to look for, we're looking for the monthly dividends, right? So looks like we made 105.62, and we want to come down to the realized and unrealized performance summary. Now each broker is going to be a little bit different the way they set it up. Kind of odd looking. 107.98 is what we had in trades. This is for one of the three that we show combined. So if we look at this, pull this up here, this is a combination of three accounts, right? But we're only showing you the one. So last month we ended up with 1,074.95. This would be one. I'll just divide it in three. So we ended up with 0.77%, right? Where our target was one, or 1,400 a month. So we missed it. The month before we were down on there, so we put it in yellow. Month before that we were above. Month before that was the worst month. That was February, and we go back to the start of the year, and we had a winning month there, over 1%. So the whole idea is at the end of the year we should have 12%. So you're going to have these fluctuations. Now, of course, we're in a down market, and you should expect that. But as long as you're still not taking losses, you're moving forward, your account value is growing. This is what you want to be looking at. Now, keep in mind, we're not adding any money to the cash account. That's this one up here, right? So if you follow that, we're not actually adding any other cash. This is just organically grown based off your trades and pulling in dividend. So obviously this account had $28,630.35 on April 30th. So that's the number we're going to use. And because at the end of May, this is what you ended up with. All right. So you start with what you started with. Right, and so we're going to take that 105.62 and we're going to add, get the calculator over here, 105.62. We're going to add that to, what was that number? Shit, 107.98. That looks like 213.60. We'll bring that back up. Now we're going to divide that by this number here. And that's going to give us our percentage. Get that calculator back up. Divide it by 28,630.35. And you multiply it by 100 to get your percentage. So we ended up with pretty close to what we averaged over the entire account. So everything was pretty well distributed based on, you know, what we do with our scans and our strategies. So we ended up with 0.74%. Well, say 0.75 because there's a 6 there. Anyways, so what we'll do, 0.75, multiply that by 12, you ended up with, you do that every month, you'll end up with 9% APY, right? That's annual percentage yield from that point forward. So we're always trying to get to that 12. So we're shy for this month, and there's nothing wrong with that. We still haven't taken a loss. Now remember, this is growing, and the other part of that is unrealized, right? So if you had 0.75, you had an unrealized gain, 1.21 minus your 0.75, you had basically 0.5% of unrealized gain. So make sure that you understand the difference between unrealized and realized, because a lot of people are cashing out on the way down because they're scared to death that they're going to lose money. Now, of course, if you're in growth stocks, you know, it's one of those gotchas because you're not going to make anything off dividends. So you have to pray and hope, you know, that the stock price is going to recover and go back up. But so not too bad for the month, 0.75%. We're in a dodgy time right now. You know, we have the accumulation going on every day. You want to be, you know, buying something if your scans allow it, if your strategy allows it. You'd never want to push this and say, well, you know, I want to be able to buy at least 5 stocks per day, and I want to at least sell 5 stocks per day. You can't look at the market that way. You have to let the market come to you. If you have your strategy in place, you'll always be ahead of the curve. You'll always be forward looking. But if you don't have a strategy, you're always playing from behind and you're always going to lose money. It's just the way it works. So get your strategy together. You know, those scans that I put out every week, there's some confusion. Some people think that these scans continue to say, well, you know, you traded something off last week's scan. I said, well, you don't understand the rules. The rules are, in a pullback strategy, if you set a trailing stop, right, that's good. It's good until it either expires or ages or it fills. That's it. Now, limit orders on the scan, if you're using a pullback to the limit to enter, those limits fall off at the end of the week. You do not use those. So none of those that are in. Now, if you're looking at the chart and you see, let's go to an example here. If you see this on the chart here, if you don't understand what's going on here, this is a pullback. This has already been filled, right, off the scan, somewhere in here. Like, you know, the earliest would have been back on 425. And so now our strategy is to come back to the pullbacks, 50% of the price that we entered at. That's our mean. not the top of the chart, just where you're at, how much you have, your mean, your break-even point. So now we're going 50% back down to the bottom. This is one of 1,000 different ways to enter after you've made your first purchase. There's so many different ways to do this. I'm showing you one example. This is to get you to try to start thinking for yourself. You can't keep thinking that, you know, somebody's got this magic bullet out there, because it doesn't exist. If it did, somebody would have the idea and be selling it to somebody for buku bucks. It's just not there. Stop chasing this, you know, what do they call them? A dream. You know, you can try it, and I'm sorry, but you know, I've been doing this long enough. I've seen people, you know, try, and then you talk to them 2 years later, and they're like, "Oh no, I gave up on that, man. That shit's rigged." It's rigged because they couldn't figure it out, or they didn't have rules. So keep on trying. I can tell you 1,000 different times, but you'll continue to roll those dice. But let me get back over here. So yeah, I don't know what the total is for the year. I hadn't tabulated all that up, but all you got to do is add each month up, right? And divide it by what you started with, and that's how much you're ahead. But I think we're probably either a point and a half down. So, you know, we need to have some good months, but hey, this could continue on down. And even though we're coming down, we're still making money. Who do you know that's making money in a down market? But, well, that's it for this one. You know, if you got any questions, make sure you check out the tip ranks. I did make contact with the people over at Tip Ranks, because people couldn't actually put my name into their search engine off their, like if you just went to Tip Ranks, you can find the link either, well, where is it? You can go on to Twitter, it's in that bio part, or you can actually get it off my website. I'm going to put a link on the website somewhere that you can find the Tip Ranks to see where we're actually ranked, and you can go from there. Obviously, they're a paid version. I think they said something like if you're not in the top 100, you know, you just don't get this. You can't search for somebody because it won't be displayed. I have my reasons or my ideas why they use that, but it doesn't. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, do yourself a favor, figure it out. You know, you got to do this trading for yourself. You got to learn this. And once you learn this, you'll never look at you know, trading in a different way. You'll just be like, yeah, I totally understand where Warren Buffett and all the billionaires and what they're actually doing. We're just doing it on a smaller scale. Once you figure out what they're doing, you shouldn't even be sitting behind a computer watching this. All you have to do is, oh, hey, my phone just said, hey, and you should know if you need to keep a piece of paper on you with the, whether the dividend amount, whatever number you're using to close out a trade, that's what you want to do. But if you're trying to go for 100% returns on each trade, I'm sorry, but it's, you know, you're going to be sitting there just collecting dividends for a while. So the whole idea, it comes down to occurrences. Don't let it fool you, the size of this account, because 12% in 6 years, if we go back 2 years, I'd have to look at it, but I'll bet you this thing was probably closer to 20. I can't remember where we started this particular one at, but we go back and it will be double in 6 years at 12%. And people that can't get that in their head, that's not adding any money. And don't fool yourself, because if you're adding money to your account, right, that's going to skew your numbers, because if you added another $1,000 in there, now you'd be up another, possibly another percentage point. So that's not a realized or unrealized gain. You cannot add cash, you know, that you're adding from outside, because that's not a legitimate gain. This is what the a lot of your, like Edward Jones and Fidelity and places like this is what they do to try to get you to, oh yeah, look at all the money you're making, because just continue to put that money in there, you'll be okay. We haven't added any money here, and we still have yet to get fully vested in an account that's moving down. Yeah, figure it out for yourself, but ask questions. I'm here to help you guys. I'm not here to try to take advantage of anybody, because I don't tell anybody what to buy, when to do it. What I'm showing you is money management. And once you get up into these higher numbers, if you start looking at a $1 million account, let me tell you, there's no difference in what I do. It's the exact same thing, right? Money management. So anyways, that's it for now. We'll talk to you later.